So you're crying out of pain, but you're also having, there's this thing going on with you where you're shutting down and you're breathing to reset yourself. You're getting yourself, because there's going to come a point, whether it was a breakup or you're whooping, where you draw the line and you're done crying. You're like, that's it. I'm done. You know what I mean? Have you ever felt that way? Like you just cried, and then all of a sudden, that last fucking breath, man, you're like, that's it.
All right. Welcome back to another episode of Behind the Veil. Man, it's been a minute. It's been a minute.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got them coming. They're coming.
Yeah, they are. They're getting in there. They're getting in there. Oh,
What's
man.
going
How
on,
you doing, brother? How you doing, man? It's been 3 months. Can you believe that? It's 3 months. That's crazy. That's crazy. Today we finally are able to get together. We've been trying to schedule this, and just one thing or another wasn't working out. I moved to a new house. We both got a lot of things going on, or something comes up. Life happens.
Hey, look at my back wall. Look at this.
Oh yeah.
Remember that back room where you stayed?
Oh,
see them French doors?
Nice.
Remember that wall was all jacked up and rotted out?
There wasn't even hardly a wall there.
I know. Yeah. Yep. Now you got a door to go out instead of pushing the drywall all the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it. That looks good, man. I know a lot of people are going through some really tough times right now, with the multitude of things that are going on in the world right now. And I think this is a good topic for today. Just to raise your vibrations, to raise your frequency, and to maintain it, because we've done multiple shows on the ebbs and flows, because your life's just constantly peaks and valleys. You get up on the high, you get down on the low. So when you're in the low, how do we bring it back up, and how do we maintain it that high even when we're in the low?
Right. There's there's actually a lot to this, and so it's one hell of a process, especially if you, well, at least for me, this is my experience. Because when this shit first went down, my old programming came back. I think we talked about this a little bit, but I went into sort of like panic mode. I was ready. I already knew this. There was going to be a virus. I've known this for years and years and years, and that was going to be a way to create some other shit that I thought. So all that came back, right? And you know what I'm talking about. Anybody who's a thinker and, been studying some of the things that's going on with what they call it, the dark state or whatever. There's powerful people that are doing shit. So, we're all like trying to figure out what's going on. So you end up on these narratives through your life. So it all started looking like some of the shit that I had known or researched or thought over the years. Here it comes. I'm like, oh, fuck, they're really going to do this. This really is going to happen. So, I'm getting hold of my sons. My sons are your age, and they've got families, and and I'm telling them I've got this place, and I'm ready to hit the hills. I'm like, because I'm thinking shit's going down, and I'm talking to other people. Because in the beginning of this, some of these states, man, shit was going on. I got a guy out in the East Coast. He's telling me, the National Guard, they're loading live ammo right now. This is like, I'm wanting to say February, March, April, somewhere when the shit first started happening up in Wisconsin. National Guard, people are rioting, and nothing's happening here, but I'm hearing these stories, and I'm thinking, well, it's going to move in. I know that we're in Indiana. I know that we have a lot of food here. We have a lot of shit because of central distribution centers or whatever, where they distribute shit, and so we've got shit here, but out there, shit's going to happen out there that's going to be different than here. So I'm thinking, well, it's going to come here. So I'm getting ready. I'm prepping. My prep mind comes back. My conspiracy thoughts come back. All my shit comes back to me real quick, because obviously we want to survive. That's what human instinct's all about. So you're not going to sit here and fucking say, I'm holding the light, wait for shit to go down. I'm like, let's get ready. Get your bug out bags, get your guns, get whatever you got. Let's get this shit rolling, right? So I talk to my kids, and I'm talking about, and like I said, they're your age, and I raised them a certain way. And they're like, Dad, we ain't going nowhere. We're defending. What the fuck are you talking about? we're defending our shit. This is what you taught us. We're going nowhere. So there's this conflict. I'm going back and forth. I'm like, but you don't understand. You know, we need to get out of the city. We need to, you know, because I'm already thinking, already panicking, already. You know, I can't believe I got myself into that state. Just years and years and years. You know, you got to figure how old am I? You know, and I've seen a lot of shit. You know, and a lot of conspiracies from Kennedy on. So, you know, so it took me a while to reel myself back in. I was, you know, even though I'm prepping, I'm still, you know, make sure I got water, toilet paper, and all this shit because it caught me with my pants down, so to speak. I'm not in that mindset. You know, I'm like, I'm keeping it positive and I'm staying positive, but I'm not going to get caught, you know, with my pants down again, never again. You know, we take shit for granted. I've told my kids this the whole life, you know, you guys, and I can't believe I got that way, you know, where you just think you can run down to Walmart, it's going to be there tomorrow, and da-da-da-da. You guys don't even know how, you know, and I would tell them stories of back in the day, and they've never seen anything like this. They're your age. You know, you guys have never seen really rough times, man. And I didn't really see rough times, but my grandma and grandpa and my mom and dad, they had stories of shit, you know. So I knew of really, really bad times, rough times, you know. And so we all get complacent. We all become lazy. We all become, so whatever. So anyway, that caught up with me. So, and I'm sure this happened to a lot of other people. You've got plans, now your plans are screwed up, or you had a job, now you don't have this job, or this just whatever. Because this yanked the rug out from everybody. I mean, worldwide, right?
Worldwide.
So, yeah. So picking yourself up, especially after you've been in this, what I feel like I was in a la-la land, right? Where, you know, I'm creating my reality and I'm doing it. And all of a sudden, whoa, I didn't create. Why, wait, how'd this happen? Because this is not in any of the creation, the shit I'm thinking, the shit I'm manifesting. This has nothing, you know, how am I in this? Because this has nothing to do with me. So that caught me, you know, I was like, whoa. So I really, you know, went back down into 3D, like hard, you know, into this physical whatever. So I've been digging my way out. I've also had other things going on too. Like I'd made a video. My buddy was dying. I kind of got off into my own thing, started smoking weed and shit. Just got myself to where, you know, I was lowering my frequency. And so with the thoughts, some of the things I was doing, diet and exercise was out of whack, the whole thing, you know, because there's a lot of things that go into this, like we were talking about, you're exercising, you're doing, you really have to commit to being positive, man. You have to commit to it. You cannot half-ass this thing because you're up against the shit now. Now you really have to be mindful every day that you get up. You have to start off with the right mindset, you know, and it can't be fear. It can't be negativity.
Well, yes. Every
it has
day,
to be gratitude.
Every day you wake up with a blank slate, and it's your choice to go back and think of the shit that's weighing you down. Every day is literally a blank slate, and I am so conscious now more than ever before of what my first thoughts are in the morning.
Exactly.
Because even if I wake up and those thoughts start going from the shitty day I had yesterday or whatever it is, I catch it almost immediately. Whoa, nope, I'm not starting my day like that. Today is not going to carry the energy of yesterday. Today, you know, you disassociate with that because it's not you. It can be if you choose to be, but you can choose to be in any state of mind at any second of the day. It's all your choice and what you're choosing and what you want to experience. So that's what I was writing. It's just so easy to get sucked back into your old programming, your old fears, your old belief systems, because especially when something this extreme is happening in the world that nothing to this scale has ever happened before, to where the entire world is involved in one thing.
Right.
One thing has brought the entire world down to its knees. And I don't want to say that thing, and everybody knows what we're talking about. But now it's forcing people to, like, I believe when you experience those fears and when you go those, it's to release it. You know, you can go into that, and then once you recognize it and to get out of it, you can just see, you feel it, and you let that energy flow through you. You know what I mean? It's kind of like purging it out of your system. So when you do
Right.
that, if you don't recognize it, though, the problem is you can stay in that energy for a long time.
Right.
I mean, you could stay in your whole life.
Yeah, you have to look at what's going on. And as I've backed up and been able to look at this from the outside, and finally, you know, just like I always do, or I have lately, be able to just get back into the flow of things and think clearly, and go with my intuition and my heart, and kind of get back. I'm starting to see that the planet itself, this whole thing, you know, we've been waiting. Everybody has talked. Everybody that's been in any kind of spirituality. I mean, I don't care if you go Christians, but whatever, they've talked of these times where there was going to be this shift, this change, this ending, a new beginning, and this, you know, it's going to be painful. It's going to be like a childbirth. It's going to be beautiful too, but ugly and sloppy and bad and good. And we're just in the beginning of this, you know. But you know, it's real hard. That's why it's been hard for me to make any videos, because things are going to sort of get kind of rough. Things are going to change. The way we knew things aren't going to be the same. Things are going to change. You're going to have to get used to that. Things are going to change. That's just where right now it looks the same. They're playing this political game with this fucking with their heads right now until they fucking drop the ball or whatever happens. But things are going to change. There's a lot of reasons why, economically and other reasons. But so we have to be prepared to shift, but we also, you know, have to be anchored in light. Now, how do you do this? How is everything you know going to go away from you? And how are you going to start new, but how are you going to be positive and have faith and belief that it's going to be okay? Well, you got to start here. You got to get away from people's thoughts. You cannot watch TV. These are just some things that I think that you should do immediately. Throw the fucking thing out the door. Do not watch TV. Anything. Turn it off. Turn it off. Turn it off.
No
social media. Get away from social media. Get away from the conversations at the water fountain about politics. That's the hook, line, and sinker bag. That's the trick bag of shit I've ever seen in my life.
Oh my God, yeah.
It's a joke. It's the biggest funny. It's like Quentin Tarantino's been writing this whole script the whole time. His movies fucking suck, by the way, I think. Not just me, but anyway, yeah, it's sloppily written. It's I predicted everything that's happening right now. It's like it's the same. Yeah. Anyway, you can't get caught up in that. You have to become gray in a way. You have to, what they call the gray man, like deflect whatever somebody's talking about. Say, well, yeah, you're probably right. I don't know. You know, I don't know that much about everything that comes up in your life from here on out. You need to really just kind of deflect shit when it comes to humans, because they're all fucking over the place. Their fears guiding them, misinformation's guiding them. Nobody uses, you know, any kind of deductive thought process anymore. Nobody uses skepticism. Nobody investigates. Nobody does anything that they're capable of doing to come to any kind of truth. So you're dealing with the just and when you see it, you know, part of you is like, how'd you get yourself into this, man? How? And then you also see it and you're like, you see how they got themselves into it. It's so easy because you just start watching things and you believe things and you watch things and you believe things. And then a guy comes out in a white coat, a clipboard, and tells you something, you believe it. This guy comes out and he's slick suits, you know, and you know, American flag waving behind him. You believe it, and you just start believing all these people who have all these agendas.
Professionals.
Yeah, you got to get back to you. And just you, man. Just
yeah,
for now.
It's all about you. Now. It's all about you.
Now,
you gotta be balanced. But everything you see on TV is just a play. I mean,
it is narrative.
They're just controlling them. I mean, it's complete and total control. and not to go too far into conspiracies, but it's not a conspiracy, but it's labeled as one, so nobody looks into it. It's funny because as soon as you brand something conspiracy, then people are like, well, you're like a tinfoil hat wearing crazy because you're thinking about these conspiracies. But there's documented evidence about all of it. All of it, even what's going on now. Even what's going on now is the same shit that happened back in Germany. Like, come on, people. Like, you gotta wake up to this.
They can't get unplugged, and that's what I'm saying. Like, and that's why you have to sort of be selfish and not try to. I just feel like you can't save everybody right now.
No,
and you can't get into those conversations where you're trying to convince, because you're going to spend a lot of energy and spin your wheels.
I recently
if somebody wants to hear it, they'll hear it
or they'll right ask you. They'll
right
ask
off the
you
bat.
About it. That's exactly what I told somebody. I thought somebody was like awakening and on a different level than they were, and I was putting a lot of energy into helping them, and then I realized that they really weren't where I thought they were. And I figured it out pretty quickly based on the questions they were asking. I was offering information, but they weren't asking about it. So they're not ready for that information yet.
Right.
So it's like another lesson I learned, because I mean, ultimately I do want to get into coaching and counseling on the spiritual level. It's something I'm working on more now too, but I'm recognizing the conversations that I have with people. So I don't talk about anything but the energy work that I do. Like, I don't really get into spirituality. I tell people that I meditate and then I'm an energy worker and I do energy healing work. I tell a lot of people about that.
Right.
And you can tell because most people are just like, oh, that's cool. And they don't say nothing about it. And then the ones that are curious are like, oh, is that, what do you do? Or is that like Reiki? I'm like, oh, about Reiki, do you? Well, let's have a conversation, and then it's open, and then a lot of people are becoming more open to it. But it's so easy to see and recognize where people are, especially now in public, like since everyone's got to wear a mask, and then you can tell by the people that wear and how what level of fear they're at, what state of consciousness they're at very rapidly, because they will tell you, that you're closer than 6 feet away. And it's like immediately, that they are completely programmed by society, by the news, by the fear. And it's like, I refuse to live my life like that. And like, none of this shit is like really real to me. I'm not saying that what's happening doesn't exist, but it doesn't exist to the level that they're saying and constantly pumping into your face. It's so minuscule that it doesn't even make sense to me.
I mean, they really are. I mean, it's sad. And I'm not saying that,
but it is a major thing that is just keeping people stuck in that lower state of consciousness. But it's also the catalyst that wakes a lot of people the fuck up. You gotta wake up, and sometimes it takes a lot of pain, a lot of fear, a lot of anxiety to reach that bottom to where you just can't take it anymore. You just break. That's what happened with me. I broke. I was so hard and deep into this fear and conspiracy, and we're all going to die, and everything's just fucked. And I'm like, well, what the fuck am I doing? Like, why am I even trying to survive and sustain? Like, if everything's going to happen the way this is what I thought it was going to happen, then literally what is the point? I was like, I refuse to live that way. I refuse to live that way. I can't do it. What is the purpose? What are you going to achieve in your life if you're just stuck in that modality? You're going to be fear. Your body's going to shut down because all the energy you have is going towards the fear, and your body's going into the fight and flight mode. It's just not healthy. It's not good. You need to relax and take a breath and breathe. We were starting to talk about breathing right before I started recording. That's why I hit record real quick, because me and Boney, we tend to have a lot of conversations that are really deep before we hit the record button. I'm like, no, not today. But like, you just got to take a breath, breathing, learn to meditate a little bit, or just to silence your mind, to relax your body, and to try and think about nothing. Am I making decisions based on love, or is it based on fear? Because if it's based on fear, it's not something that's for your highest good. For me anyway, it's not something I want to be a part of. I don't want to make decisions in fear. I don't want to live my life
Yeah.
in fear. I don't make decisions based on fear. I make them based on love or for my highest good, you know. But we've been
Right.
programmed and experienced so many fears in our lives that that's really hard to purge completely.
Yeah.
We identify with our thoughts, and that's like a choice. That's something I also started with. It's we choose our state of mind at any given time of the day, and you can change it at any given time of the day. But if
Right.
we identify with our thoughts, it's like your ego grabbing onto that thought, and that is me. You know, that is me. But it's not.
Yeah.
You are not your thoughts. You are not your beliefs. You're just picking those up and choosing to be them, because a belief is just a thought that you continue to think. You don't have to do that. So
Right.
with me recognizing when I get into those peaks and valleys, when I'm down in the lower, frequencies, which I I get into on like a day, and then it's just like you carry that momentum in the day and it just keeps going down. Shit just isn't working out. And I'm just telling myself the whole time, everything's working out, everything's working out, everything's working out. And it flows all right. But, you still have to experience and be around other people. For me, with my job, I'm always around a lot of people.
Right.
I have to deal with a lot of different energies and consciousnesses all day. And a lot of times that weighs on me because we're all very empathic as to what degree and to how, do you recognize that you're picking up other people's energies, or do you
Right.
associate that as yours? So with anything, you can disassociate with that thought, with that energy, with that feeling, because it's really not yours. You're
Right.
choosing and grabbing a hold of that and identifying with it. So if you can recognize that and disassociate with it and just realize that you are connected to source, you are source incarnate in a human form, then it's like it's easier to pull yourself away from that. You know what I mean? To back up and look at it like big picture. That always helps me a lot when I can back up and look at it big picture. And then I can realize how minuscule this little thing that I'm stressing about is. It's really not that important. In the grand scheme of things, it really doesn't matter that much. So why am I getting worked up about it? Why am I letting that bring me down? Why am I letting that ruin my day?
Right.
So,
Right.
and then I choose to not allow that to happen anymore, and then boom, right back up.
Yeah. I don't, we was talking about breathing there for a second. We was talking about meditation, and I just want to kind of give a couple examples about breathing, like because we don't, you hear people say, well, you become aware and you focus on your breath and you start to breathe. Well, nobody really goes into the science. There's an alchemist, or there's alchemy behind a lot of what's going on with us, and we change, our biology, we change the alchemy in our body, and we also change the frequency. But okay, I just want to give a couple real crazy examples of something just so you can kind of get in touch with breath. When you're a kid, you get a spank. Well, I don't know if you're old enough where your age, you got spankings. Back when I was a day, everybody got spankings. You got your ass busted when you got in trouble, right? Well, when you got a whooping or you got in big time trouble and you're laying there, the parent goes out of the room, you're laying there crying. Now, why do you think you're doing that? You've experienced. Now, this is, and some women, actually men too, have either lost somebody they loved or they've come to this point in their life where they're on their knees and they're like, they get that. Why do you think they're breathing like that? Your body, you're already out of control. You are no longer thinking. You're not in control of your breath, but your body is taking over. Your subconscious is taking over and resetting. You've experienced so much, either physical, emotional, some kind of pain that is to the degree that your brain is shut down. You can't hardly function. You are emotional wreck. Well, you're not supposed to be an emotional wreck. You could stay there that way forever, right? But your body is like in tune to take over. When you can't control your shit, when you can't take over, your body will do it. So you're crying out of pain, but you're also having, there's this thing going on with you where you're shutting down and you're breathing to reset yourself. You're getting yourself, because there's going to come a point, whether it was a breakup or you're whooping, where you draw the line and you're done crying. You're like, that's it. I'm done. You know what I mean? Have you ever felt that way? Like you just cried, and then all of a sudden, that last fucking breath, man, you're like, that's it. I'm done with this shit. I'm done with that girl. I'm done with that dude. I'm done with this. I'm done with that. I'm done crying. Well, psychologically, biologically, chemically, your subconscious took over and took over for you and got you back to normal, because you could have stayed that way. You could have cried and cried and cried and cried and cried without that breathing and that, that, all that, right? So let's say, okay, now there's that where your body resets it. Now let's just say you're playing as a kid, or you're not playing. You come into your house and you think you heard a noise and you're scared and you stop breathing. You couldn't take a breath. You couldn't scream if you wanted to. You're froze. Your veins constrict. Your body can. So breathing is huge in survival. Breathing is huge in everyday life. Athletes all athletes that, no matter what, they teach them to breathe. If they don't, they're going to be defeated by the other team, because breathing is everything. You've got people who go into deep, where they can create DMT. There's this thing called the Kachar Mudra, where you create what's called emerit, whatever. It's a chemical behind your nose. It's like DMT through breathing. You got the Wim Hof method, where you could, he claims you can create DMT and have a DMT experience through breathing. So there's more to this breathing than just you focus on your breath and you get into rhythm and become aware. No, man. When you start to breathe and you start to get in the here and now, and you start to let the thoughts flow through and go through, your veins go from being constricted to opening up, your blood vessels go through. Now you're breathing, now you're taking oxygen. This oxygen, is going from your lungs to your brain, which is also causing more electrical charge, which is causing more higher frequency, which is causing, you can breathe, you can feel it. Like if you breathe with William Hof and sit there and just take 2 or 3 minutes of doing that, man, you feel like you're going to fall out, but you feel like an electric, you feel staticky. You feel like, you feel the electricity in you. Like there's something weird going on with you. It feels weird. It's electric, right?
Yeah.
So I just wanted to not try to tell people, this is how you should think. I'm just trying to tell people you should really stop to think. Just stop yourself and come to your own conclusions and go back to your life and see how breathing has either changed you, helped you, hurt you, and then realize that by simply sitting down and breathing, there's more going on than just this boring ass breathing. You're changing your biology, man. You're changing yourself. As you start to do this day in and day out, your thoughts will change, things will change, everything will change. The way you think change. That's why people who meditate, they all have this similar mindset where, they're in this flow state and they seem to be happier, and they seem to be more grounded, and they seem to be more in touch with reality, and they seem to be more deflective of bullshit. And they seem to be able to, disarm a conversation or get out of it, or, and they don't get caught up in shit, right?
Yeah.
So there's something to it. There's something to the breathing. And it has to do with biology and alchemy. That's all I want to say.
Yeah, I like that. That's a really good example. And the Wim Hof breathing, that's profound, man. I mean, these guys are climbing the freaking Mount Everest in a pair of shorts.
Yeah.
They're just wearing shorts. That's incredible that you have that much control over your body. That you can regulate your core temperature at sub-zero temperatures. I haven't had the balls to do it, and I just don't I don't even like doing the cold shower thing in the morning, but I force myself to do it because I know it's good for my brain. that it's really activating. It's good for your body, for your skin, for everything. But I fucking hate it, you know. And I don't want to jump into an ice bath. But at the same time, I do kind of want to do it because it's challenging and I'm scared of it. And I don't want to do it. So then I tend to push myself into that, because you really do make a lot of discoveries about yourself when you push yourself to a place of uncomfortability. And but it just sucks because you just don't want to go there. But we were so happy in our comfort zone. We get in these comfort zones. We don't ever want to leave them. But you're never going to have a full life experience if you never get outside your comfort zone. You're never, it's just not going to happen, you know. And that's one of the biggest things I learned of my travels when I did it, because it's something I always wanted to do, just go travel across the country. But I was too scared to do it. I always had an excuse. There was always excuses. You know, I can't do it because of this, can't do it because of that, blah, blah, blah. I don't have the money to do it. It's too expensive. I don't have the time, blah, 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 blah. And it got to a point to where I was just like, we're doing it, you know.
Right.
I really don't have any money, but we're gonna figure it out, you know.
That was pretty cool.
It was.
Yeah. And that's how, you know, that's how life is. I mean, if you're willing to roll the dice, I was telling Kim the other day, you know, a lot of people, they're so wrapped up in, oh my God, rent, this, that, whatever. There's a bum outside of her store, and this guy, he's not very intelligent. He's been around there for years and years, but he pops up every once in a while asking for change out in front of the store. And he's kind of a stinky guy, and he's soiled half the time. He has a bicycle with bags hanging off of it, whatever. This guy, he eats every day somehow. The Lord provides, you know what I mean? He survives every day. He probably doesn't worry about rent, lights, utilities, the stock market, coronavirus, you know, all these worries. But yet every day this man plugs on. I mean, his quality of life might not, I mean, who knows how he perceives his quality of life, because the way we perceive it is from a spoiled, rotten, you know, perspective. We, you know, cavemen or some of the guys in the Old West might think this dude is living it up. He's got all kinds, you know what I mean, compared to what they had. So it's about perspective and what you've got and what you're spoiled about it. But like I'm saying, it's just, you know, you're going to survive. You're going to figure it out. If you eat bark off of a tree, you'll figure it out. So you have to like let go and believe.
Yes.
You know, believe. It's scary. It's scary, man. Like what you did, that's scary shit. You know, it's scary, man. But you was in a, you know, you had what was lucky for you, or what happened that was good, is that you had seen enough kind of crazy, like just enough to make you believe, damn, anything's possible, man. Anything's possible, man. Anything's possible, man. Because that's where you get when you first awaken, and something happens and it cracks your cranium, dude, and you're just like, what the, you know, and then you start to see what you perceive as different dimensions, or you start to perceive something that's outside of everything you've ever believed and been taught. And then once you believe that you've seen that, oh, fucking door opens up and something else. You're like, whoa! And just because you believed it, now you're seeing things. You're like, wow, I am. And you know, it gets. So that's why you were like, hell, I believe I can do this shit. I mean, this is nothing compared to shit.
Well, yeah, that's exactly right. When you awaken to these truths, whatever that looks like for you, it's, you recognize that there's a whole other world that no one ever taught you about.
Right.
It's almost unbelievable. Like you sound crazy if you try to talk to a normal person, quote unquote normal, and tell them about this. You know, I would have thought you were crazy 3 years ago, and now I've been on this journey for a little over 2 years. Like I have just surrendered so fully and trust so fully in the universe. Like I just truly believe that shit's just gonna work out for me, and it does. It always does. And manifestations have never come faster to me now. And it's like the minimalist effort that I put into it. Like before, I used to really put a lot of energy into manifesting it, and eventually you put enough energy at it, you're gonna get it, you know.
Right.
It might not be how you envision it. It's usually not how you envision you get it, but if you envision how you're gonna get it, you're resisting and get that thought and that manifestation. But lately, with everything, I just put it out into the universe and wait.
Yeah.
Just be patient. Put it out there. If you put it out there with a true intent, like with this bed, I had made the decision that I'm gonna buy this exact bed. I was like, I'm gonna buy it. I want the queen size bed. I want something that's similar to how this is. I want this kind of mattress with this kind of firmness, and that's what I want. And I'm gonna go buy it. And I just had that decision in my mind. I'm like, I am gonna get a bed. But I wasn't actively shopping for one. I didn't start looking. I just knew I was gonna get one. I just didn't know when. I just figured it would happen when it felt right, because that's how I live my life now. And I'll tell you, not a week later, this girl I worked with asked me, she's like, do you want a bed? I was like, what do you mean? Like, what kind of bed? She was like, well, I just bought this bed, but then so-and-so moved out and they had a king size bed. So I have this extra bed now and I'm not going to use it. Do you want it? I was like,
hell yeah.
Yeah. Fuck yeah, I want it. And she told me what I first asked her what kind of bed it was and all that. And then she told me, I'm like, yeah. I was like, that's the exact shit I was going to buy. Like, yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah.
I got a free bed. I mean, and that's happened over and over again. Like last year, I wrote down a goal that I was going to be in a house within a year. It was December 22nd. I wrote it on my whiteboard, my list of goals for the year to get out of debt, or at least to catch up on major debts. I still gotta work on the other debts, but I'm good with the big stuff. That's the important stuff. And I'm caught up with all that. So I said by within a year I was gonna have a house. I didn't put any restrictions or whatever on it. Like I wasn't like I need to own a house, because I'm not ready for that yet, and I honestly don't want to own a house right now because that's just too much for me. But like just perfect synchronicities, when you allow just the universe to show up for you, how that happens, when you just live in your now moment, when you be as present as you can at every second of every day to the best of your ability. It's like following your highest excitement, is you can just be present and live in the now moment. I don't think about what's coming. I don't think about what happened yesterday. I think about what's in front of me right now. And that's the biggest shift I've had from that trip. When I started that trip last year, when I thought I was really awakened and awoke and I knew all these things, which I did. I knew a lot of stuff then, but I didn't know how to practically apply those in my life. So I was still working on that aspect of it. And that's what a lot of that trip taught me, is how to live that life, how to be it instead of talk about it. And now that I be it, I don't talk about it as much. It's really interesting. Anyway, so
it's almost like talking about it. I don't want to say it takes out the energy of it, but I don't know. It takes focus out a little bit to me. That's why I haven't been making a lot of videos. I've been focused on myself, and I had to get back to. I got shooken up a little bit, man, because I don't know how that shook me so bad, but it was just like one of those deals where I was like, I knew it, and God, I went off running with that shit, but it didn't last long.
It's so easy to do. It's so easy to do.
It didn't last long, but. Yeah, I don't even know where I was going with it, but I was just saying.
Well, I'll tell you a story about the house. So within a year, I wrote that on the whiteboard and I took a picture of it, and because I erased it and I use it for affirmations and all kinds of stuff. Bills, I got it sitting right here. And it's not a lot of erased because I just moved and stuff, but this is my whiteboard. I got all kinds of shit on there. You know what I mean? Affirmations, bills, so on and so forth. But I wrote it, I put it out in the universe, and I completely forgot about it. Wasn't looking for, I got that apartment. I wasn't looking for a house at all. And one of my customers one night, who lives right down the street, she lives on this neighborhood, was in trying to buy a car, and she ended up not buying a car, but I spent like 3 hours with her and we were just talking, and she told me one of her neighbors were moving out, and she told me that this is, there's a couple townhouses right here, and it's literally like 200 yards from where I lived before. 200 yards, and I'm actually closer to work now by like 200 yards. So there's this 2-bedroom townhouse. I was in like a 1-bedroom studio apartment, and I got this 2-bedroom townhouse for $100 more a month.
Damn.
And it just fell into my lap. And then, so listen to this. This is crazy. So the neighbor tells me about this place. She tells me about this. I'm like, all right, well, that sounds interesting. I'm interested in it. Give me the info for your landlord. Like, give me her number. I'll call her. And she sends me the info. I talk to people at work. A couple people I work with used to live in this little area. Told me the houses were nice, so on and so forth. And then the day I just happened to call the landlord, she was in this building. She was here just checking it out, making sure the previous tenant got all their stuff out or whatever, and checking it out. And I call her and she's here. And I'm like, all right, cool. So I just came right over, took a tour of the house, talked to her. I told her I was interested in it, and she started getting it ready, and it was like it just flowed perfectly. It's like, boom,
right
here it is.
Sweet.
Like, we need this much money to move in. I'm like, all right, well, I can give you this much. She's like, all right, cool. Well, then you can pay me the other half with like monthly. You know what I mean? Just do it that way. And I was like, all right, perfect.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
I'm like, boom, right in there. It just was no resistance to it. I just allowed the universe to bring that to me, and it was in my budget. It worked out. Everything it just fell into place perfectly. And that's, like, if that doesn't happen in my life, like, I'm generally going to walk away from it, because if there's resistance, it's not right timing. It's not meant for me right now. And I'm okay with walking away from that, because I don't like fighting up the river. I don't go up against the grain. I don't go up. I'm not paddling up river anymore. I let go of the oar and I just go with the current. I just go with the flow. And it's truly unbelievably amazing what life is about. Like, I wanted to work out, so I started working out. I worked out for 3 months, and then all of a sudden this video pops up on my phone, and it was something I really resonated with, this guy talking about, being healthy and so on and so forth. And then I click on that, and then he's got like these videos in this app. So then I start learning how to work out, how to properly nutrition, like, feed my body what it needs, to best optimize my energy. You know what I mean? And came up with a plan and figured it out just by like just learning a little, watching a couple videos. And I learned how to isolate muscle groups, which I wasn't doing before. You know what I mean? So now within 30 days of working out on a specific program, I've seen more changes in my body than 3 months of just doing shit I thought was all right. And it was, it really, it was all right. I mean, I was building muscle, but I was doing it right. I thought I was doing it right, but I wasn't.
Yeah. Well, hey, as long as you're focused on it, you're trying, man. You got to start there. I remember when I was a kid, I didn't even have weights. I was like, I don't know, 12 or 13 years old. I was skinnier than hell too. That's how I got to make bones. And man, I wanted muscles so bad. And I had these big books. They were like dictionaries, probably. I don't know. Books I wouldn't, books, they were worthless to me. I used them to prop up table, what were books to me? Junk, But anyway, I used them for weights, and I would sit there, man, and I could see my muscle, I'd look in the mirror and I'd hold these books out I'd shake. I'd be shaking from holding them so long, And I started seeing the little, on my little skinny body, I'd see those little muscles, but I had no idea what I was doing. But I was just feeling it, I could feel it get tighter. I could, intuitively, nobody showed me, but as I got older, like I learned how to do it. But, as long as you're starting off, just get healthy, man. Just, do it. you know, because you're literally, you know, what's funny is we don't listen to ourselves. We know this intuitively. We know to be healthy. We know all these things, man. And when we go against them in our gut, deep in our gut, in our chest, it feels wrong, but we do it anyway because it's fast, it's easy. It's like fast food, man. It's you know, I know you don't. You're a skinny little dude, so it doesn't matter to you that you can go eat cheeseburgers from McDonald's all day. But a guy like me, you know, that's something you have to be conscious of because my body, you know, it doesn't. I'm not like you're a Ferrari, you know, you're running. I'm like this little 4-cylinder old truck, you know. I mean, I'm not that bad, but you know what I mean. It's like my metabolism is nowhere near it. I don't burn calories like that. My testosterone isn't up like that. My HGH doesn't pump like that. So, you know, the parts of my body that would either take a cheeseburger and shit it out, you know, they don't work like that no more. Now that thing sits around on my stomach and my chin, you know, that cheeseburger hanging around for a while, you know.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, you know, working out is that's if you start like, you know how you started going through your awakening, if you add that to your repertoire, it's a biological and alchemy. I'm telling you, there's so much going on with us biologically and chemically that we control, not just in our minds. There's things that you can do. Like if you can't get it right in your mind, start doing those things with your body, your diet, your exercise, all these things, and it'll start to get you in that direction to where you can get into that flow. Because a lot of people, they just give up. They just sit down. They're like, man, I can't think. I can't sit here and focus on my breath. I'm going, you know, ape shit, thinking of this, thinking of that. My back hurts from sitting here. My butt hurts from I don't have a pillow on. You just got to keep doing it.
They give up.
Yeah, you got to keep going, change your lifestyle, change little things. And as you start to move into it, I mean, it's all about you. You know, that's what this is about. This is all about you. This isn't about being right. This isn't about proving points. This is about you feeling, thinking, being this optimal, or at least a better, maybe not the best version you could be, but you can start being a better version than you was yesterday and continue to climb this upper echelon of.
You got to think who you've become by the time you start awakening. You've spent your entire life becoming that person.
Yeah,
you're not going to change that overnight because that's a lot of reprogramming. That's a lot of changes that have to take place mentally, physically, spiritually. You know, that's why it's a mind, body, soul transformation. It really does take every aspect of it. And I did with the mind, and then I did the body and soul. And like well, I think it's probably the soul first, and then the mind, and then now it's like the body. Because I went through a dramatic change in my appearance. I mean, it was 265 pounds when I started. When I first awakened to the, you know, and had the vision and everything. When I first surrendered and asked for spirit to intervene in my life, and I was extremely unhealthy, extremely unhappy, extremely depressed. To in a place within 2 years, am extremely happy. Have created a completely different personality. Everything about me is different. The person I was when I first awakened doesn't exist anymore. I don't think like him. I don't look like him. I don't talk like him. You know, I'm not at all the same person. And you have that ability too. Everybody has that ability. We can all make a change, and it's not going to happen overnight. But if you really want to change, it will happen rapidly in this new energy.
Yes.
It will happen so fast. And it starts, you can do one little thing every day. You can stop thinking about shit that, you know, that works you up. If you're getting tense,
turn off the TV.
You know, it happens to me all day. I get tense at work because I just like, I got to get this done. I got to do this. I got to do this because I'm always so freaking busy that I always have a million things to do. So I get tense, and then I have to like, I realize it. I'm like, well, I'm doing it again. All right. Take a breath and relax. Everything's going to work out. And then like 2 hours later, I'll be into it. I'm like, all right, take a breath, relax, and just, and the more you work on that, then the more that becomes your natural state of being. And then once you can get to that point, I mean,
Yeah, you get more done when you're relaxed and you can think clearly. You get so much more done than when you're in a scattered out, chaotic mode. You know.
Mm-hmm. And I'm in a really like the company I work for demands perfection.
Oh.
Like, you know what I mean? Like it's a great place to work because of how they treat people, and that's why I'm there, because of, you know, integrity, compassion, and honesty. Like those are all like ways I live my life, and that's ways I sell cars. I don't bullshit. I don't, you know, I just put it all out there. You know what I mean? That's how I believe in doing things with every aspect of my life. So why would it be any different with my job? But yeah, it's just, you can change. You can become anything you want to become. And I'm constantly working to better myself, to pursue things that make me happy, the things that I truly want to do in this life, because that's like, I really do want to help people. That's why we both started our channels, just to share our stories. If we could help one person, then it was worth it. And I know we've touched the lives of dozens of people. I don't know how many people, but a lot of people, and we have really small channels, you know what I mean? And that just speaks volumes to our authenticity, I think, in my opinion anyway. And just sharing our experiences, no matter what it is. I mean, you go back and watch this whole series of Behind the Veil, the amount of knowledge that you can glean from that is incredible. I learn stuff when I go back and watch it again. You know what I mean? Because we cover so much information. This is such dense, rich information in these series that it's you almost have to watch them over and over again just to pick it up. You know?
Right.
It's really, this is my favorite creation. You know, this is the best thing. And it just perfect. It took off perfectly. It was like, let's do this. We did it. We set it up. We recorded immediately, and just boom. We're on. I don't even know what episode this is. We gotta be close to 30 by now.
Yeah, I think we are.
Oh,
what I like about it is, I think in the very beginning, like the first 2 or 3 episodes, we tried to come up with some kind of subject matter, keep some kind of control of the conversation, you know. And then we realized, I think, that that wasn't what was up. We just let it go wherever it wanted to go. And I think that's really I don't know, to me, I wouldn't say magic. I don't want to say it's magic, but that's what I like about it. You know, that's what I like, the fact that it just, it doesn't have, it's not contrived, and it doesn't have a mission, and it's just sort of, I mean, it has a mission sort of, but it's not really, we just let it go where it goes. It's like, we're not trying to come here and press some kind of idea that we're, you know, selling this today, and this is what we're going to pound on. We kind of come with a general, you know, we might say, well, what are you going to talk about? Something comes up, you're like, perfect, click, you know, hit start, you know, let's talk about it. So that's really where, I like that. I like it spontaneous.
It's not scripted.
Yeah, because when we talk like 2 or 3 minutes, and last time we talked was 2 or 3 months ago.
Yeah.
We send each other text here and there, a little, you know, five or some shit like that, but we haven't seriously talked. So this is us talking. People are witness us, you know, talking. You know, touching base, communicating spiritually, you know, so it's real shit.
Yeah.
You know, it's a real deal. So I like it. I like it. You know, it's therapeutic too, because
it is.
I mean, you really, I don't know how most people that are going through some of the stuff I'm going through, how they feel, but I felt secluded. And, you know, you talk to people and they really try to empathize and understand people that love you and stuff, but unless somebody's actually going through some of this shit, man, and their head is just like, they've shaken off their foundation, and they're like, you know, it's almost like, you know, the ego's gone, and you're starting from scratch, and you're trying to rebuild this character, but you don't want a character, and you're just going through all these things. You know, nobody can ever understand unless that person's going through the same thing, unless they're slated, they're wiped clean for some reason, or they've hit this bottom, like you said, or they've, you know, it comes to the point where you're just going to either rebuild, recreate. You're going to come out of this rebirth. You know, it's a
yeah, it's like the phoenix.
You're different. You change.
Yeah, and you refined. You know, it's a refinement. I love the phoenix. The phoenix is the perfect representation. It's the death and rebirth, because that's exactly
Yeah.
what happened. The death of the old me, because that person's gone, and I was rebirthed, recreated in a new image. And eh, I've done it several times in my life, but it was always because of, I just wanted to be different. I just wanted to change who I was, just naturally. Like, I knew nothing about anything spiritual or religious. I just wanted to change my image. And when you have an opportunity to do that, if you move to a new place or if you go somewhere else, you always have that opportunity to completely recreate yourself. But
Right.
you don't have to move. You don't have to. You can do it at any time. But the thing is, like, what happens most time when you decide to recreate yourself, all your family, all the people that are around you, do not accept that new you.
Right.
A lot of people will just stay in that complacency or stay in that old set or don't change because it's hard, because it creates friction with people that don't
Well, it creates a
like
new
the new or
dynamic.
don't want to change,
The relationships you have with people are already set in stone. They already have a past, and they already have these emotions and all these things that these people depend on every day when they see you. They expect you to be shitty on Tuesday because of traffic. And all of a sudden, you're like, oh, Tuesday you come here in a good mood. Who is this dude?
Hey, wait,
Because
what's
they're
going
ready
on
to
there?
have that.
Yeah.
They want a banner. Tuesdays is their bad day too. They want to get it on. So they're ready for this same. Um, how you go through the same
Cycle.
pattern through your relationships, where you get along this in the fall, we don't get along in the summer,
Yeah.
or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So they're used to this dynamic, this human dynamic that they have with you, that they've either learned to manipulate, or you've learned to manipulate them, or you both manipulate each other, however. And now it becomes like you're trying to be pure, or real, true to your own
Yeah.
self, true to everything else. And some people are like, whoa,
Mm-hmm.
this, they ain't go for this.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's exactly what happens. And it's funny that the people that are around me the most, that are in my energy, the ones that are open and perceptive to it, I've watched their lives change. Like, they've all started going through the same things that I've gone through. And it's like I'm able to, tell them what's going on if they ask.
Right.
I have one friend who's gone through almost the exact same thing I've gone through, and it's like I almost know exactly the steps and stages,
Yeah.
because and I'm not gonna tell her, if she asks for my opinion on something, I give it to her, but I'm not gonna,
Right. Let her
compare.
find her own way. She'll
But I
find
know
her
where
own truth.
she's at. I know where she's heading, and I don't know if it started with the energy work, that I've done a lot of healing sessions with this person, and it seemed that gave her the power herself, because she's very receptive now, and she's having a lot of interesting experiences with, like, the spiritual realm or elemental realm, and
Yeah.
things that she's still afraid of, she's still scared of, but she's having those experiences, and she then asks about it, so it's creating a curiosity, I think, and it's really propelling her down her path. And she's open to it, and it's like, I see it's almost everybody's experience is going to have the same stages, I think. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If they're married in a relationship, and then shit changes, then this is going to happen, and this is going to happen. It'll just be different variations of these stages. So, but everyone's
Yeah.
pretty much going through those same stages, and it's like,
Yeah.
I can recall and see and know those stages so well.
Yeah.
That, like,
It's like a rebirth.
yeah. And it's
Yeah.
like, I know that process, and I could really help a lot of people going through that process. And
Yeah.
I don't know, that's real, like, dear to my heart. I don't know.
It is. We had talked about, the theme of this show was actually supposed to be maintaining, keeping your frequency high. And we talked about getting off social media, getting off TV. And hang on, I just lost my train of thought. Hang on. Hey, what was you just talking about? Just talking about your friend.
Going through this.
Oh, going through this. I've had some people that I have talked to lately, and we had talked about the awakening, and one of them was telling me they were going through this awakening, and we got to talking. And next thing you know, they're off talking about, I don't know if it's the thing called the QAnon, whatever this Q thing is, and the kids and lizards eating people and all this,
Yeah.
And that's what they were awakened to. And I was like, bro, this is not the awakening that I'm talking about. This is a whole other, you're on some other shit. You know what I mean? That's a whole other dark path. That's a whole other,
yes.
Not that these things don't exist, just like Corona, but no, you can't, you got to be careful what you awaken to, because there's a lot of people on here that are talking about a lot of things that take you down to another path that isn't so desirable. I mean, it's just not conducive to your being the best example of yourself that you can be. You have to guard yourself and everything about you. Like, dude, you got to put up shields and walls, and because there's so much misinformation or things that will touch you and get you down this path and infuriated and fucking mad and or sad or what it, dude, that's the world. That's the world. We know this. We know these things are happening. We can't focus on these things right now. We can't change these things until we change us.
Yeah.
We have to completely get ourselves into a flow state or a I don't know, some kind of
balance.
Just an optimal, because we can change these things. All these things that people talk about, no, that's going on, this going on. If we would get our shit together and everybody would start to get on the same page and everybody would like connect, and I think they are, and I really think this is happening. I just don't think we can see it because it's so chaotic and so much is going on, and you're just like, but I do believe that, these things are slowly, and it's going to just eventually somehow lock in. And I do believe that the collective of this new energy, this new positive, this new change, this new rebirth, this new frequency, it's going to lock in. But it's going to get, in my heart, I feel it's going to get sloppy. It's going to get messy. Things are going to change. Our rug is going to get slipped out from under us 2 or 3 more times.
Oh, yeah.
Things that we never thought of are going to happen. So we need to get ourselves, us, fixed.
Yeah.
Get it straight, so that we can see what's coming, know what to do when it comes.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, if you're not balanced inside, if you're not in harmony with yourself, when these things come up that are slowly being brought to light now, it's going to get worse. More shit's going to come out because we're ready as a collective to deal with it. So these things are going to just keep the light's going to keep shining on these things, and then it's like the same as within so without, as above so below. Like when we are going through these things, when we are raising our levels of consciousness and awareness, then the world in the universe is bringing to light all these things that have been buried in the darkness for so long. Yep. And now that is being brought to light, we can purge that out of our society, purge it out of the world. And that's what's been happening. And now they're afraid because that keeps happening and it's going to keep happening. There's nothing you can do to stop it. That momentum is taking on so much that you can't stop. It's like that giant snowball going down the hill. It's just building momentum and getting bigger and bigger and bigger. There's no stopping it. The light is just, it's too powerful. It's way too powerful. You can't change it. You can't stop it. But they're gonna fight. They're gonna do the best they can to stay in this paradigm that they have created of control, fear, guilt, shame. And that's what, Cryon said it years ago, and it gave me such chills when I heard it, that, the light is winning. And what do you think the darkness is going to do when that happens? They're going to go on a major campaign of fear. And that's what we're in right now.
You're in it. We're in it right now.
And they're going to keep stepping on that pedal. They're going to keep ramping it up until I mean, if you have enough people believing the same thing, like they did with the election, they just announced it. There's not actually any results yet, but they just announced a winner. So enough people believe it, then you manifest that. We create that. And the same thing they did with this virus. That's boom. This is what it is. Everyone be afraid of it. And then if you're in that fear, you're going to create and manifest that for yourself.
Right.
You can create that within you. I mean, that's how powerful we are.
But these are the things that are going to bog you down. See, that shit is there for that shit's there to darken your light, man. That shit is there to snuff it out. Like, you still have to, by focusing and staying focused and not, I'm not saying that we should not try to manifest a different world and try to change those things. I'm saying we can't get caught up in that shit to where it affects our frequency, to where we're on some other mission, because the mission's big and it's an all-encompassing deal. It's sure there's pockets of those bad things, like you said, from everything from the election to the pandemic to the child trafficking but these are things you cannot get involved in.
No,
you cannot right now, because you're like you're like a boxer, man. You're not to have sex. You're not to read the paper. You're not, you're coming in for a fight, dude. Your trainer is telling you, he's got you secluded. He's got you on an island. He's got you training. You're not to be looking at the news. You're not to be looking at chicks. You're not to be doing anything other than focused on the mission at hand. If you're in the battle that I feel like I'm in, I feel like there's this thing coming, and I can't be plugged into all this other shit, dude. I got shit that's going to be on my plate soon that I don't know. I just know things are coming. Things are coming. And I don't mean that in a negative way. It's a good thing. It's like a childbirth. It's a good thing. It's a good thing.
Yeah,
but
you're going to go through the birth.
You better be prepared. I'll tell you, when Kim had her first, we had Billy, I was 17, dude. I'd been in some fights and seen blood. I knew some blood, I've seen stuff. I never seen anything like a childbirth. I mean, I about fainted, dude. It was, it was not easy on a 17-year-old boy. You know what I mean? I was hurt.
I can't imagine.
So I'm telling you right now, even though when it was over, I had a beautiful son and everything was beautiful. Boy, during that time, it was like something I had never seen before. So.
That's a perfect analogy, and I love it too with the boxer and the training. I mean, that's what the awakening is. It is a training, and everything else are just distractions that are keeping you from fully recognizing the power that you really have. And
the dark side's going to send that shit to you.
Absolutely. The more you get on the light, the more shit they're going to send your way. But that's also the quickening of this thing, because when people are waking up now, you don't have 10 years to go through it. You're going through it in 6 months, motherfucker. You better hold on. It's just going to go down. But,
it's finally like, or it feels like to me, to use the boxing analogy, we're finally throwing punches. Like that first round, they go around, he throws a jab, comes around, he comes up, and they're trying to see who's doing what and reacting. Second punch, they throw more punch. By the third and fourth, fifth round, they're getting down. They've done felt each other out, and that's how we are with the light and dark right now. We're throwing punches, they're throwing punches, and they're throwing them, dude. They're throwing them.
Oh, yeah.
And we need to get down on it. And we can't be distracted
right now. They're putting it all out there. We're kind of like in that rope-a-dope mode right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just kind of just taking the punches. And just throwing it in there. Eventually it's going to wear out. Eventually it's going to get to the point where it's exhausted. It can't continue to do what it's doing because
it's used up its energy.
Yes, because everyone's going to see it because they're afraid and they're going too fast. They're just terrified. They're terrified. And I think I've said this before in one of our episodes. Just think of it like this. These people that are in these positions of power are so jealous and envious of you, of the freedom that you have of your mind and the ability that you have to take that anywhere. They're stuck. They're stuck in that family they were born in. They can't leave. They're jealous of you. They're mad that you have that ability, and they want to to suppress that. They don't want you to know that you have that ability. You are more powerful than you can imagine.
Right.
My whole body tingled when I said that. It's so, I get so worked up over it, man, because that's what I developed. That's what I work on within myself the most, is just activating these things, just, I don't even want to say activating because it's already within us, but it is kind of like you have to activate it in a way. But that's something I'm playing with.
It is a process.
I'm gonna go with that. But yeah, it is a process. Absolutely.
Yeah, and you've got to start, like, that's what we was talking about, the breathing and getting away from everything. I mean, you've got to, and right now, man, I'm telling you, right now is like, whew, it's crazy. It's crazy, crazy, crazy. There's just more shit being piled on top.
I think this winter is going to be really crazy. I think up until the election results are announced, it's going to be crazy. I think shit's just going to keep getting crazier for the next couple of years, until it's just, whatever happens, with the collective society. Like, I can't, I pay attention to, I think the key is to be aware of everything that's going on, but I don't follow the news to do that. That's the great thing about the internet. You can choose the things that you want to ingest as content or information. It's like, buying a magazine. You can choose which article you read. You don't have to take the whole thing. You don't have to, you don't have to turn the news on and listen to all the fear so you can hear the sports. It doesn't make sense. You can just go right to a sports page and read the sports. You don't have to listen to all the other shit. That's the best thing you can do. There's a lot of people, and me included, were like, I can't stop watching the news. How am I going to know what's going on in the world?
Who cares?
It doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't. I used to be afraid that I wouldn't have anything to talk about with people. Like, what am I going to talk about? I don't know what current affairs are going on. Well, that it's just changed, and now I have more personal conversations. So people ask me about what's going on in the news. I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't watch the news. I have no idea what's going on in the world. And then they're like, oh, okay. So I'm like, all right, cool. So, how's your day going? And you can talk about something real, not something intangible, something that's just a narrative that they want you to believe in. And it's, I don't know.
I think, you was talking about they're doing too much too fast. I think that they may not know, but I think they're creating more awakenings, or they're creating more frustration to where people are ready to, just to give up on the leaders that they've been believing in. They're starting to see that they're all the same. Every one of them, they're all in. I think they're going to create, they're trying to hold us down. I feel like that's what this thing is about. But I think that they're going to create more problems for themselves. I don't think it's going to pan out the way they've planned. I think that they're going to create a monster.
I know it's the funny thing. Their plan to keep control is going to be their undoing.
Yep.
Like they can't. You can't.
It's almost like like when you got a kid, there's that balance between being too strict and being too. If you're too strict, there's like those. You always see, the preacher's son or the preacher's daughter, where they're just drunk, faloozers, faloozy, whatever, loosey goosey people, because they've been held down, or they've to the point. Because human beings, you can only, they're like a dog. They will come in and set up for a treat. Human beings are disgusting that way. We do want to be governed, and we do want to be safe, and we allow people to make us safe instead of taking that up on ourselves. But you can only cage you. Once you cage them so much, I do believe that's when the barbarism or whatever comes out of you. This primal instinct of whoa, that's too much. That's too much. That's too much.
Taking it too far.
You snap out of it.
Yeah.
Start that heavy breathing.
Yeah. That's awesome. All right, I love it. I think that was a great show. So thank you everybody for joining us today. I have missed you guys incredibly. I've missed interacting with you. I still talk to a couple subscribers, and I'm still gaining new subscribers. So welcome to whoever's still here. If you are still here, let's what kind of comment can they leave that would just, identify them as the people that are still here?
I'm still here.
Yeah.
Actually, what I would like to hear is where are they and what's going on there.
Yeah.
I was wanting to do a video like I wish I could get like thousands and thousands and thousands of views and kind of get, because what you see on the news and some of the things you see isn't always the same as what somebody's telling you who lives actually right there.
No, yeah.
And there's so there needs to be, and that would be a good thing, weekly to have on your channel or mine or whatever, but where people come on and that's what they comment on. They just comment. I live in Central Tennessee. We went to stage 4. They've closed down the bars. They've done it. And you kind of get this idea of what's going on really everywhere. I remember when we went to go to Florida, here was June or July, we were under the impression it was closed down. They told us, or we seen on the news, the beaches are closed. This, that. My brother told me he was going. I was like, oh, man, that's the dumbest thing ever. They're closed. He's like, man, I've been talking to them at Panama City Beach, and it's banging down there. We went down there. It was happening just like nothing. It was like spring break.
Yeah.
There was some stupid things like the bars you had to carry out, I think, and there was a few things, but for the most part, beaches were packed. There was it was just like, and if we would have followed the narrative on TV, we'd have never went. Until we talked to actual human beings on the ground, boots on the ground, we had no idea what was going
on. Yeah. So comment where you're from and what's going on right there. If you're still here, there's 3 people that are here, and I know the 3 people that'll still be watching it. But and I love you so much. We love you so much.
We love you.
Good thing I love these.
There's only 3. We'll buy them drinks.
Yeah. Tell us where you're at, and the next time I get a wild hair and decide to travel, which will happen again.
I'm about to split myself.
We'll plan on making a stop over your way. Yep. All right, guys. Well, thank you for joining us today. Thank you so much for watching this whole video. For you that are still here, really do appreciate it, and we will do our best to continue creating more content, more often, more regularly, and this is something we both love to do. So we all could use and do more of the things that we truly love to do. And if the things that you love to do are giving back and helping other people, then what better thing can you do for the world right now?
Yeah, no kidding.
That's powerful stuff. But all right, guys, I love each and every one of you. Be the change that you want to see in this world. And we'll see you again real soon.
I love you guys. See ya.
Bye. Peace.